So there was just an article released by Bloody Disgusting on a video released by Sci-Fi, basically interviewing the cast of Chucky, or some of the cast members, about their hopes for season 2, or basically any info on season 2, basically really clamoring, trying to get anything they can at all costs about season 2, because basically at the moment we have no filming news, no plot news, no cast news, besides the basic obvious cast members, and besides the fact that it's coming in 2022, we have no info at all of anything, no trailers, filming dates, anything. So they released this video basically talking about any of their hopes for season 2, or even they mentioned season 6, which is really hard to think of at the moment, considering that obviously we don't even have season 2 yet. So I just want to quickly go through with this video and basically try to pick up any information we could get that will relate towards season 2, or any information on, like, you know, maybe characters that will be returning or just anything. So starting off with Jennifer Tilly, the interviewer does ask, saying, do you think Tiffany and Chucky would be good grandparents? Obviously referring to Glenda and Glen in season 6. Like, you know, could they imagine themselves being, like, you know, grandparents? Obviously, like I said, Glen and Glenda, of them having children, which obviously Tiffany, or Jennifer Tilly, did say that Tiffany and Chucky aren't exactly the star parents and wouldn't be good grandparents, considering that they don't even know where Glen or Glenda are, which I thought was a very interesting thing for her to say, considering that in season 1 of Chucky we didn't see Glen or Glenda anywhere, unless you count the obvious kind of, like, you know, mystical theory that Miss Fairchild is Glenda. Then I guess you could say we technically did see Glenda around the block, but she says that we don't know, or, like, you know, that they don't even know where their kids are, where Glen and Glenda are, which, like I said, in season 1 we didn't see Glen and Glenda anywhere. Basically Tiffany was moving Nika all around the world, or all around, like, you know, Hackensack, from house to house, but we never saw Glen or Glenda anywhere, and obviously that means she's a pretty bad parent for just letting them, like, you know, just go anywhere, which I'll have a video out on basically my theories on this whole thing, where Glen and Glenda can be, like, what happens to them after Seed of Chucky. But that is a very interesting thing to think about, because in the season 1 finale, episode 8, in Affair to Dismember, Tiffany did mention that Glenda did get her kind of a carrying case for the whole bomb thing she rigged the house up with, which obviously means that she has had some form of contact with Glenda. But for her to say she doesn't know where they are is a very interesting thing. Like, did they get split up after Seed? Did, like, maybe the kids grow up and, like, you know, keep out of contact with Tiffany? That's definitely a possibility. And she does mention the possibility of, like, you know, Glen, which is pretty interesting, like, you know, doesn't know where her kids are, because at the moment there's a theory on, honestly, like, you know, Miss Fairchild being the adult Glenda, but we have no any, like, thing on who could be the adult or even the human form of Glen. So I just thought that was like, you know, interesting thing to bring up, and, like, an interesting thing to really pick at, because like I said, I do not know what she means about, like, you know, she doesn't know where they are. And she does mention in a very speculative or kind of theory-like form, where basically that the fans didn't like Seed of Chucky, but they loved Glen and Glenda, and basically loved those little guys, and that obviously it did really sound like she didn't know whether if they're gonna be, or whether if Glen or Glenda would be in season 2. So that's kind of not worrying, but it's kind of like makes you think, if she doesn't know, then obviously the script's probably being written right now, so obviously she probably doesn't know exactly yet. But I do find it interesting how, like, you know, even she's like, you know, Don Mancini obviously wants, like, you know, Glen and Glenda, that he's, like, even, like, have obviously references in season 1 that he'll most likely put them in eventually. But moving on to Alex Vincent, aka Andy Barkley, his entire segment, basically she does mention the whole season 6, like, you know, scenario, and basically the interviewer does ask, basically saying, like, is there anything you want to happen to your characters, your kid, like the kids' characters, Chucky, anything going towards, like, season 6, to which he pretty much responds saying, like, obviously we have to survive season 1, which obviously, like, you know, Andy was left on a bit of a cliffhanger with obviously being in the truck with Tiffany, or the bride doll version of Tiffany, and obviously Kyle was, like, you know, never seen again after the huge house explosion early in the episode, until the ending of the episode, where basically we got to see her hand go up against the tree. And he basically says that Don always surprises us, and we, like, you know, it's never what we're expecting to, like, you know, him to make, which obviously refers to him always, like, you know, surprising everybody with, like, you know, what he does, the new ideas he comes up with. Obviously one of the biggest ones in Chucky season 1 obviously being the Chucky army, and him, like, you know, splitting his souls into an entire army, which is kind of different from Curse of Chucky, where it was just a few dolls. Now it's just the entire army just being spread all across the world, or possibly. And then basically moving on to Kyle, or her actress, basically talking about, like, you know, Chucky season 6 or even 2. She basically says that she hopes she doesn't die, and, like, you know, that's it and everything. Jennifer Tilly's Tiffany was definitely the one to give us the most information, referring to, like, you know, the whereabouts of Glen and or, like, you know, the possible whereabouts whereabouts of Glen or Glenda, while the other two kind of left us on a bit of a kind of spiral, kind of wondering what might happen while not giving us too much, which I do really understand, kind of like, you know, their kind of mindset, obviously, because at the moment, like I said, they're probably really early script writing, like very early pre-production of the show, and they're not even like, you know, thinking about production probably right now. But I do wish they gave us a little bit more information on their hopes for season 2, like what they really want to happen. But I guess we'll have to wait till a little bit later for them to really reveal much and everything when they get a bit more idea on where the season's gonna go and like, you know, what's gonna happen and stuff like that. But that was all I really want to talk about today. I'll make sure to link the bloody disgusting article down below and this, like, you know, sci-fi interview video with the cast of Chucky down below, so you guys go check that out. But that was all I have for today and everything. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below in the comments on this whole thing, where basically, like, you know, where do you think Glen and Glenda are? Do you think they might have split up with Tiffany, or like, you know, split away from Tiffany after Seed of Chucky? What do you think happens to them? Because like I said, I definitely do want to make a video on that entire subject of, like, you know, where they are, what happens to them after Seed of Chucky and all of that. And just in general, what are your hopes for season 2 so far? Because that's a separate video kind of idea. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Peace, my amigos, and peace out.